Baby, they won't stop. Won't stop, 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 won't stop.
All right, enough of that. In the name of Amen the Supreme, the all-powerful, the one and only true Lord, and Amen we trust, and Amen we thank, and Amen we continue forward forever. Good evening, I'm your host, the Intellectual Lord, Benjamin Manhattan, and this is High and Mighty Thoughts with me, the Intellectual Lord, Benjamin Manhattan. And tonight we're going to be discussing why Black Americans still think like African slaves instead of first Americans, especially after we done found out all the things that are coming out about us as American indigenous people. So sit back, relax. I know I said we was gonna start at 7:30, you know, then 8:30. We're at 8:30 now, but we're gonna go as long as we need to go. It is what it is. You know, I already told y'all, you know, my excuse. Wives, children, home stuff, you know, it kind of, you know, interrupts your flow a little bit, but we're gonna still make it happen regardless. Before I get into this, I want everybody to you know, hit the link down below for the American Indigenous Street and Music Festival that's coming in June. Everybody, please go and donate this. Give all you can, give all you can stand, because we're gonna have a big, beautiful celebration in June to celebrate our American indigenous heritage, to celebrate who we are as American indigenous people. It's about time. It's about time. It's about time we celebrate who we are as American indigenous people. And our American indigenous culture goes as such. From Mesoamericans in the South and central parts of America, and then we made our way into North America and became the American indigenous, or the American Indians, so-called American Indians. And then, you know, we definitely have an American cowboy culture, which we're going to be definitely featuring as well. Not just our American indigenous roots, our American Indian roots, as they say, or our Mesoamerican, also our American cowboy indigenous roots, because that's all American. That's all American culture. What did they teach you about American culture? Early American culture is really cowboy and Indian culture. Cowboy and Indian culture. It's not colonial culture. They don't talk about colonial culture. They focus more on Western culture, right? Cowboy and Indian culture. You know, the cultures that were bred in America, that's us, that they try to whitewash and make it into Caucasians who come in from Ireland, like John Wayne, aka Marion Morrison, right? People changing their names up and stealing our names and our style and our swag and everything, you know, our culture, just stealing it, outright stealing the identity of who we are as American indigenous people. Like I said, we bred the cowboy culture, right? Which we're gonna definitely we're definitely going to be featuring there at the American Indigenous Street Music Festival. We're going to be, because again, it's about our culture, our heritage. You know, we're going to be showcasing our music there, everything from blues to jazz to R&B. You know, we're going to be playing all kinds of music out there. You know, it's going to be a family event. We want all of our people, our American indigenous family, right? our American indigenous family, and everybody to come out. It's for everybody to come out and celebrate our American indigenous culture as the real indigenous Americans, as the first Americans, the indigenous Americans, right, of all the Americas, because we are indigenous to all of the Americas. We're not just indigenous to North America. We're indigenous to South America, Central America, North America, Canada, Mexico. Our people were all over the Americas first as the indigenous people, and it's time that we start acknowledging that. So go hit the link below. And if I ain't said again, I gotta reintroduce this. In the name of Amen, the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord. And Amen we trust, and Amen we thank, and Amen we continue forward forever, because none of this would be possible without the power of the true Lord, the true Lord, the true law and order of the ages, the true law and order of all the boundless universe. Amen. Amen is the true Lord, and that represents a race of people, us, the lost race of Amen. So, the African, or this whole Black African slave mindset that our people have, this is constantly perpetuated. This is constantly perpetuated by a lot of people. You see, this is perpetuated by a lot of people who are, you know, or certain people who have a lot invested in us, you know, cosplaying as Africans. Okay. And I'm not even going to talk so much about the Pan-Africanists. You already know what it is with them. I told you all before, the so-called Pan-Africanists are nothing but undercover boulets. They're undercover boulets that are set up, given salaries and given livings to sell our people lies. Sell our people lies. The American indigenous people, the bronze American indigenous people, sell us lies that we are part and parcel with some African slave trade. Let me take these off. Let me show you my eyes today. Got me a fresh one. Got me a fresh cut. Feeling good. Feeling good. All right. So, these people are out here promoting us, you know, and our culture as nothing more than a bunch of kidnapped people, nothing more than a bunch of enslaved people. And they make you think that that's our heritage right there. Black History Month, I asked the question, and I'm going to answer it tonight because I'm going to touch on a few things concerning this. Black History Month was something that was thrown at our people, so-called Black Americans, to hide our American indigenous roots, to hide our American indigenous heritage. That's why Black History Month was always thrown at us. And it's always the same thing. And it's very little that is known about our heritage, very little that's known about our culture here in America. All we know is, oh, we was kidnapped in Africa and we was brought here into America, and everybody was slaves according to what they said, which we know that's not true. We're taught that, you know, all our people, we're told that we come from a slave culture and we are a bunch of Africans, and we had our culture decimated. We had our culture diced up and spliced up and given to other people. We had our culture diced up and spliced up and given to other people. Your Native Americans took our culture. Your European Caucasians took our culture. The European Caucasians took our cowboy culture, because the original cowboys, right? The original cowboys was bronze people. They, you know, of course, we was working with the cows, and you know they was calling bronze men boys. So that's where the term cowboy came from. Cowboy came from our people working with the cows, because we had history of working with steers and, you know, cattle, because our people used to rustle buffalo, because we used to, you know, eat buffalo. So, you know, we know how to rustle a damn cow. We know how to rustle a buffalo and all kinds of steers. So that's how we came to be known as cowboys. And of course, you know, the Indian part, the indigenous part, the so-called Indians, the feathered head crowns and all that, that's our culture, man. So you had the Caucasians and the Mongolian natives take our culture, split it in half, and become us. It's just like today with our music. Everybody wants to take credit for our music, right, and leave us out of our music. Like they try to do the same thing. People have been vulturing our culture since they came here. People have been vulturing our culture so much so that we don't even know. When you think of the word Indian, you think of these Mongolians with the straight hair and the slanted eyes. You think of them as the Indian or the so-called Indians, which they don't even call themselves Indian. They call themselves Native Americans, which that term came from the Know Nothing Party, which were Europeans. And they attached these people to that phrase, which was started to be used in the 1970s. Native American prior to that wasn't used widely to associate with the so-called Mongolians who call themselves Native Americans today. That term came in 1970 from the Europeans, but they used it first back in the 1800s. The Native Americans, they was calling themselves that, and these people just picked up, and they don't even know their real history. And you know, it really kind of makes me like wince at when these people sit up here and try to tell us what our history is, and they don't even know their own history. They don't know that they are, a lot of the people who call themselves Native Americans today are really Asians. They're really Asians, and they're hiding their Asian culture. They're hiding their connection to the Asian slave trade that took place in the 1700s to 1800s, where they were taking these people from Asia. Go look at the book. Matter of fact, I got the book in my small library because I don't do much reading, but I said I would collect this book as a collector's item. It's called, matter of fact, let me go get it real quick. Give me a second. Let me go get this book. Good book. It's called I suggest everybody get this book before it runs out, before they stop printing. It's called Asian Slaves in Colonial Mexico. Asian Slaves in Colonial Mexico. From Chinos to Indians. From Chinos to Indians. Chino is another way of saying Chinese or China, because these people who call themselves Native Americans today or act like they're American Indians are really either the result of this Asian slaves, the Asian slave trade that was conducted by the Euro-Spanish, by the European Spanish, that brought a lot of the Asians into South and Central America and Mexico, and they started mixing in with the indigenous bronze people, so-called black. You do know that the original Mexicans are so-called black, bronze people. The original Mexicans from the Olmecs are bronze people. You know, I found out last night that the guy Will.I.am from the the Black Eyed Peas, you know he's Mexican. How many of y'all knew that Will.I.am is Mexican? How many of y'all know that? How many of you knew that Will.I.am from the Black Eyed Peas is Mexican? He's a straight up Mexican, bronze Mexican. You see how many of y'all know that? Will.I.am from Black Eyed Peas. They have some good joints and whatnot. He's from LA. And he's a so-called black Mexican. You know, they got the cholos, but then you got the black Mexicans who he said they call them blolos, black Chicanos or black Mexican, and they're not African. They're not African. Nobody brought them on no slave ship nowhere. Nobody forced them to come over. No, they was already there. So-called black Mexicans go all the way back to the Olmecs. Our people have always been there. Those people who came over with the straight hair and the slanted eyes, they're Mexicans. In fact, there was this guy, I wanted to attach this video to it. I wish I would have told my wife earlier. There's this guy, he has a YouTube channel. He's one of these Native Americans. He, you know, he's one of the guys with straight hair, and you could clearly see he has Asian features, right? He sets up and he starts talking about certain people who have Native American roots. This is what he put up there. No, he's not Haitian. He's Mexican. Somebody say thought he was Haitian. He said, yeah, people thought he was Haitian. He's Mexican. But he was on Drink Champs and he was talking about it, but he's from California. He knew Eazy-E. But anyway, so this guy, I wish I could give it to I'm probably try to give it to my wife. She'll probably try to attach it in later. I shared his thing. He did a short on YouTube. But anyway, he was a so-called Native American. He thinks they Indians, right? And He said, "Oh, here's some other famous Native Americans you didn't know about." He said some. No, he said some indigenous people. He didn't use the word native. He said indigenous because for some strange reason they think indigenous and native is the same thing, which it is not. I told you, native are people who come from elsewhere and come into America and they start having children and they anchor themselves to this country. And then those children who are born here are natives. They're considered native. Once their families come here and they start generations having, being born here, they become Native Americans, natives to America. But the people who are naturalized Americans, or should I say indigenous, those are the people who've always been in America from the beginning of America. And that's our people. That's why the oldest woman found here. See, they can never, because a lot of the, I'm starting to notice this with a lot of these natives. And again, I don't have no problem with the natives and whatnot, because technically they are natives. Technically, they are natives. They're not indigenous, though. And no one should ever think that the term native and indigenous are synonymous. They're not. They're not synonymous. They're not interchangeable. They're different for a reason. Those are two separate words for a reason. Indigenous are the people that belong to the land. They've always been there. That's so-called Black Americans, us, who family go back through slavery. And then you got the indigenous people, the natives who came later. Those people came later and they started picking up our culture like everybody does when they come into a place where culture dominates that land space. Our culture has always dominated America. We are indigenous culture. They don't talk about all of the indigenous tribes that were here beyond the Mongolian tribes they show you. Because see, the Mongolians, the Asian tribes that was brought over here, like I said, they came over here brand new. They was brand new according to this. They ain't been here long, but now they try to act as though these people are original people. And the European colonists, the Euro colonists, they know the history of those people. They know they're not the indigenous people. They know our people are. It's right in the Library of Congress. You can look that book up. One of the oldest books in the Library of Congress that was falling apart. That Sister Chasa Z, she brought it out. And it showed you images and pictures of how the American indigenous people look when they came in. It was bronze people with feathered head crowns stand up. They had depictions and all that. Nowhere did they call them Africans. Nowhere at one point did they ever call us Africans. We went from Indians to Negroes to color to mulatto and all these other different made up terms. And then eventually Black, you see, and then eventually Black. And that's how it went. Nobody at no time called us African. African was a pretty much new terminology for our people. Where they was trying to push that African lie that, tried to erase our history by giving us Black history, by giving us African American studies to erase our history here in the Americas. Our American Indian or indigenous history, our Mesoamerican culture, which we came in as the Mayans, we came in as the Aztecs and broke up into all these different tribes and scattered all over the country of North America. We were the first ones that set foot in North America and name a lot of the areas in North America. And they know that history very well. The U.S. government knows that history, just like they know the history of the people they call Native Americans. But these people don't mind telling lies. They don't mind telling lies. They're ready to die with the lie just to deprive us of who we are as American indigenous people. You see? And like I said, they anchor their babies over here, and that's how they become natives. We're not Native American. If we were really African, we could call ourselves Native Americans. That's why we have to stop calling ourselves Native Americans. Dan Calloway pointed that out. Shout out to Dan Calloway. You see? So it's a constant fight. Not even really a fight. The fight is more amongst ourselves. I'm going to get into that in a second. That you got all these people who are trying to get us to live a lie. They trying to get us to live a lie just so that they can continue to get money, funding, whatever it is to support their lifestyle, because a lot of people are eating off of the whole African American, or were eating off of the whole African American, black, whatever. A lot of people eating off that lie that we came over on African slave ships, that we came here to pick cotton, and all these lies upon lies upon lies. A lot of people have been eating off that lie. And it ain't just Caucasians. Black people been eating off that lie. Your natives have been eating off that lie, because your so-called Native Americans and your Pan-Africanists both have the same thing in common. They both want us to be Black Africans from Africa, because that keeps their lie intact. That keeps the natives' lie intact, that they the first people of this land, that they indigenous to this land, and they don't even know their own history. And I said, this is funny how they never talk about the Asian slave trade, nor do they ever talk about how they crossed the Bering Straits and came over here into America. They don't talk about that. These are Asians. trying to cosplay as the American indigenous people. Same way the Latinos cosplay as, you know, the founders of hip hop and everything else. Everybody take our culture, man. And, you know, but anyway, this guy, I want to show this video. This guy was up here, so-called native. He got a YouTube channel. And you can see amongst a lot of these so-called natives, they got bronze in them. They got so-called black in them. They got all our sheen, all our skin and all that. They got our genetics in them, because when the Mongolians came over, the Asians came over, of course, a lot of them started mixing in with our people. And that's where these people come from. That's why a lot of them went from a yellowish tint, a yellowish to pale tint, to a brown, more a more brown tint with sheen to it. That's from us, man. That's from the indigenous people that were already here. I always also noticed that a lot of these people calling themselves Native Americans, they never want to talk about their connection, their Mongolian connection. They act like they had that ain't them that came over here, that was brought over here by the Euro Spanish. They act like they wasn't the one that crossed the Bering Strait. They never want to talk about their Mongolian heritage or origin, but they quick to tell us we African. They quick to tell us, oh, y'all African. They don't know our history. They don't know our history. All they know is the lies that they heard in U.S. history, and they ready to go with it. You know why? Because it benefits them. But when the same people, the same Caucasians, the same Europeans come out and basically tell you, because you can look up the history, they'll tell you that these people are Mongolians. When they found the first woman here, the oldest fossil, the oldest bones here, I forget how many thousands of years ago, if they found the bones of Lucia woman. Now, they kept on saying in that video, Tariq Nasheed had played that video, when they found Lucia woman who was indigenous to America, they kept on trying to retest it because they found that she was a so-called black woman. And they was like, they didn't know how to explain that, because, you know, the story is we came first, we was brought here by white people like cargo. We was brought here by white, Caucasians, Europeans as cargo to pick cotton. That's the lie they tell. That's the lie they tell. A whole lot of historical lies are being told. A whole lot of his historical lies. His story, his historical lies are being told, and people are believing this, right? So they didn't know how to explain Lucia woman, who was found here thousands upon thousands. Oldest person found in America is a so-called black woman, right? And she looks just like the woman from she looks like the woman from the Tulsa, Oklahoma, this older sister who, I don't know if she passed on, was trying to, you know, get compensated for the land that was taken from them. Of course, you know, the judge went against them. Of course she did. You know, that's the beast for you. But ain't nothing fair about them. Ain't nothing righteous about these people. But anyway, my point being is that they kept trying to, the scientists kept trying to, you know, testing it again. It's like, wow, how could she be so-called black woman? They put the face, they know they could do all the genetic feet, put it all together, and they showed how her face looked when she lived. Now, if she was there, obviously it was people older than her, because she had to come from parents. So, you know, her parents was walking around her. She had probably siblings and a whole society around. That's just who they found. The further back they go, they're gonna keep finding so-called black people in America. So now that debunks the lie that we were brought here as slaves. That debunks the lie. And not to mention all of the so-called black people that are found in quote-unquote so-called Indian burial grounds. All of them, they in the Carolinas and places like that. These are so-called black people that are being found in the Carolinas who are Indians in Indian burial grounds. Nothing but black people there. No Mongolians, none of these Asian-looking people, none of these people with the straight hair, just so-called black people. I wonder why. So you're putting all this together and you're seeing proof that we are indigenous to America, that we didn't come from Africa. We have nothing to do with Africa at all. But people are still trying to Africanize us. Even our own people that look like us, are trying to Africanize us out of ignorance. Either they're doing that out of ignorance, or they just doing it because they have, you know, an agenda. A lot of these Pan-Africans and pro-blacks, they got an agenda. They got an agenda to promote us as Africans. They got a problem with us being American indigenous people. They got a problem with that. With all the proof that's coming out, you still got people that say, damn the proof. We don't like we don't like the account. Damn the proof. We like how things used to be. We like you niggas believing that you African, that you came over, because everybody likes to see us down bad. Everybody likes to see us oppressed. Because why wouldn't people say, hey, you know what? Let's look at with all these people who are historians have did research. Say, let's look at what they saying and whatnot. Your Dane Callaways, your Kareem, your Howard, Solana, YT, all them people that's coming out, 1,000 go-aheads. I wish he would put out some more stuff, but like I said, even me, because I was dealing with intellect, things on a higher level mentally. So I said, you know what? Got to straighten this out before we move on as American indigenous people, because we need to know that we home right where we stand. And it's sad to see a lot of our people still under this African lie that we came over here on slave ships and that people brought us like cargo. You know how degrading that sounds? They just straightened up degrading our people by lying to our people. You brought a whole bunch of people over here, millions of people locked in chains. You brought millions of people. I tell that lie, brought millions of people locked in chains. Millions of people on boats locked in chains to come over and pick cotton. Do that even sound right? But to the people who had it programmed in your mind over and over and over again, it do sound right. To the people in their mind, that sounds right. That makes sense. Or we was brought over like cargo, like furniture, like packing a packing crate, so that we could get out here and pick cotton, right? And you had all these people here. Who could have did that job? I told you that's a lie, man. We are the culture of America because we're the only real Americans. And this is why I say it's important that we have this American Indigenous Street Music Festival. So again, I'm going to be up here beating the drum. I'm going to be doing extra lives because we got to raise this money, man. We got to make this happen in June. We got June. This is going to take place. So go hit the link down below. You see the festival. This is really happening. This is for the community. This is for us. This will be a big event once, and this will be something for our children to see so that they know their real history. Black history is not our history. Black history was given to us to block or black out our history. It was given to us to do exactly what it did, which is to black out our history. Black history was meant to black out or block out our American indigenous history, our American indigenous heritage. Because all we know is, we came over here on African slave ships, and they're going to keep perpetuating that lie. They're going to keep teaching that lie in schools and universities that we came over here on some cargo slave ships. You want people that's going to keep perpetuating that lie. So we got to tell the truth. We can't sit up here and perpetuate the lie with these people. We look like damn fools. We got to perpetuate the truth. If they're going to perpetuate and teach the lie, we got to teach the truth. Constantly teach the truth. That's why I stay beating the drum, man. I stay beating the drum. That's why we had to do this festival for us. We don't, and let me tell you something. I don't care who accepts it. I don't care who likes it. I don't care who acknowledges that. We ain't in it for acknowledgement. We ain't in it for people to agree with us. We're not debating with nobody no more. Because let me tell you something. These people who are debating us, or who, when we go in certain groups, or these people who watch videos and see me had the feathered head crown on that and claim that I'm a damn culture vulture. Yet these people are the biggest culture vultures. These Asians, these Mongolians who refuse to acknowledge their Mongolian roots, refuse to take blood tests to prove that they are so-called Americans. The reason why they don't want to acknowledge their Mongolian origins is because that will bust their whole American indigenous thing out. If you are indigenous to someplace else, you can't be indigenous to America. That's why they don't want to acknowledge it. They know it's true. They know it's true. They know what we saying is true, because ain't nobody gonna put this much energy into a lie. You see, y'all put energy into a lie, but to put energy into truth, there has to be some factual and logical proof, which there has been factual and logical proof of who the real American Indians are, us. So nobody got time to sit up here and lie. Nobody got time to sit up here, we American. If we was really African, I'm the Africanest mother effer you ever see. I'll be African all day if we was really African. But we not. So what we supposed to do? We supposed to live a lie? We supposed to live a lie because other people want to feel good while they steal our culture? People was pissed off at Tariq Nasheed when he did microphone check because he told the truth. You got people out here who are demonically possessed who want us to live a lie, so they can feel good about themselves. They want us to be African so they can continue to remain telling the world that they the real indigenous people, that we not the real indigenous people, just like they wanted us to shut up and just let it happen, let them steal hip hop from us and say, oh, y'all, we 50-50. After a while, y'all ain't even had nothing to do with it. But the people want us to shut up while they steal our culture, steal our heritage. But we got to say no, man. We got to say no. And this is the perfect way to say no, by having a street festival, for us, the American indigenous people, with all of our culture. And see, let me tell you, this is why I say, yeah, we not only the American Indians, we the American cowboys, we all that. We the American music here, we the American culture here. We are. People who are falsely being called African American. Your heritage is here in America. So I don't know why the hell y'all pick up this African nonsense and put on this kente cloth and try to find your so-called identity. And y'all phony as hell, man. Because y'all will never take on no African name. Remember, I was on Umar Johnson asked about that. I was like, yeah, you pushing Pan-Africanism, but you ain't got no African name. Umar is a Muslim name. Umar is a Muslim name. It's an Islamic name. That's not no African name. Then he started calling himself Ufutunde. What language is that from? Ufutunde. Come on, man. Come on, man. They cosplaying, man. They getting a check. This is a hustle for them, man. The Pan-African this is the scam African hustle, and this is what they're going to continue to do, which is why, like I said, you got certain people that they want to be African, let them be African, man. I'm not trying to argue with people back and forth about, whether you want to be African or be African then. Shit, Elon Musk, he African. He's African American. Elon Musk got a lot of white African Americans. Got a lot of white African Americans. Elon Musk. What's that guy? The South African. I forget where he is. But my point is that we have a rich history here in America that is bigger than slavery, bigger than civil rights, bigger than getting beat up and marching in Selma. We got a rich history here, a long history here that we throwing in the garbage because it's Black history nonsense. A fake month that is dedicated to a fake stereotypical creation of racist Caucasians, and they got a bunch of Negroes to push this nonsense to our people. You see? So we need to stop the lie, man. We need to stop the cap. Because we got children, we got babies, and they need to know the truth. They need to know who they are. They don't need to be searching for their roots in Africa. They don't need to be searching for their roots in the motherland. We in the fatherland. We've always been in the fatherland. America is the fatherland. That they try to make into a female energy or principle because the very people in charge got a female energy on them. Anytime you sit up here and you try to lie to people, try to steal their heritage, try to steal their culture, try to basically, tell them that they're not who they say they are. Here it is. We got to argue we're not even arguing with the so-called white man or the so-called natives. We argue more with so-called Black people. Black people argue more about the ones who are ignorant about their true heritage and culture and claim they African and want us to be African. But it's funny that these people never change their names to African names. They ain't thinking about going and living over in Africa. I mean, you might have a few clowns that go over there and live in these third world countries in Africa and then they'll be sitting up here crying about wishing they could come back from there. You see, you leave in your country. You leave in your country to go live in these people's country, and you're gonna act like they're supposed to invite you and welcome you home, and they don't do that because they don't really see you as them. They see you as different because you are. Stop believing this nonsense that all dark-skinned people are from Africa or we from the same place. They don't say that about the East Indians. They don't say that about them. They call them Asians and they skin dark as you. How come they not called Africans? Yet y'all claim that all life started in Africa. So why are they not called Africans? Why are the Europeans not called Africans? Why are the Mongolians not called Africans? They don't even want to be Mongolian. Everybody wants to be American. Everybody wants to be Native American, our Native American culture and history, but it's okay to Africanize us. You see, because when they talk about Africanizing us, they don't want us to be American because, again, if we start saying we American, then we might be like, hey, let's look deeper into this story they telling. Next thing you know, we find out, hey, the real American Indians look like us. Where these American Indians come from? They're not African. It's not African culture. So the more and more you look, and more you look and look and look, next thing you know, you find out about the Mayans and the Aztec, which were the first people that came into America from South and Central America into North America. They made the exodus from the South. You know, kind of like how we did here in North America, how a lot of our people came from the South, and came up to North. That's what our people did. We was always traveling, man. We traveled from North to South. We traveled from South to North, and we ended up in North America. And as the Aztec and the Mayan, and people just started splitting off and doing their own drive, going different places and setting up and building housing, you know, building villages and stuff like that. And that's how we got into North America. That's really how we got here. Their account of dealings with the Indians, the early accounts, they was talking about our people. Yet we supposed to forget that, because if we bring up the fact that, hey, here's proof right here that we the American Indians, here's proof right here that we indigenous Americans, here's proof right here, and we bring that truth up, oh, why we y'all getting that from? Oh, ha. Okay, after you stop laughing, address the proof right here on record, in records, and all that. Address that. They don't want to address that. They don't want to address the proof that's in their face. They don't want to address that because they don't care about the truth. You got a lot of people that don't care about the truth. They care about the narrative. They care about the story. They care about the story of us coming over. Because again, by us saying that we came over here on African slave ships, we lying to ourselves. We lying to make other people feel good about themselves. Because once you pull that linchpin out from the setup, everything falls apart. See, they need us to be African so they can remain Indians, so that the white man can remain the cowboys, the Mongoloids can become the Indians. Everybody can become us because they fading us to black. They pushing us to black. They was even talking about this guy, how the Lone Ranger was based on Bass Reeves, which I acknowledge that's true. The Lone Ranger was based on Bass Reeves. They gave him a black mask to put over his face, symbolically saying that this was a so-called black man. Why would the Lone Ranger, a white man, have a black mask on his face? Nobody never wondered why. What would make him put a black mask on his face? Why would they do that? Because they didn't want to accept Bass Reeves as the Lone Ranger, because he was the real Lone Ranger. Bass Reeves, a bronze man, a bronze American indigenous man, not no African American, because I hate when they sit up here and they try to make Bass Reeves an African American. They try to make Benjamin Banneker an African American. They try to make Crispus Attucks and all the people, the indigenous people, they try to make them African Americans. A fairly new term that came about in 1988. They trying to make them a bunch of foreigners in their own land because of the color of their skin, because they don't want the Americans to look like me. They don't want the Americans to look like us. They want the Americans to look like them, because they realize what a great country this is, what a great continent this is. So they just started the process of trying to replace us. They've been trying to replace us ever since they got here. The Europeans who calling themselves American, 1828 Merriam-Webster Dictionary of American, a term that was connected to the copper-colored races, us copper-colored races, a term that was connected to the copper-colored races, right? That now applies to the aboriginals, the indigenous people, but now applies to Europeans. Identity theft all day. So they left that knowledge there. And we gotta set the record straight of who we are before y'all start worrying about Egypt and Africa. Why don't y'all worry about who we are as Americans? Why are you worrying about Egypt and Africa when we have a rich history here in America? With pyramids that our people built in South and Central America. We're just gonna leave all that history on the table. I was arguing, I wasn't even trying to say arguing, debating with these Mongolian natives, because they sitting up here saying that the Mayans are not bronze people, they're not black. You know, everybody trying to whitewash our images and take our accomplishments and promote that we came over here on, and we was doing nothing but swinging over in trees in Africa. And because, you know, now they got, they had Kendrick Lamar. That's why I don't really, you know, Kendrick Lamar, I'm going to talk a little bit about his performance. I didn't really care for it. I mean, it was all right. I didn't really care for it. However, I wasn't Kendrick Lamar, and they got Mike Tyson. Remember I said they got them now talking about they African, I'm not American. Mike Tyson, I'm not American, I'm African. They got Mike Tyson so-called saying that. So I guess that's to be like, because Mike Tyson and Kendrick Lamar, these so-called celebrities, saying basically denying their American indigenous roots. We supposed to do the same thing? We supposed to, because Mike Tyson, who got knocked upside his head for over 20, 30 goddamn years, knocked upside his head and beat up and whatever, we supposed to listen to him and throw away our heritage because Mike Tyson said he ain't African? Mike Tyson, you an Olmec, man. You American, nigga. Stop that. You ain't no African, Mike Tyson. What they paying you, what they giving you money to say that? Kendrick Lamar, you ain't no African. And if you African, where in Africa you come from? And why don't you go over there and visit? Why are you over here being Kendrick Lamar? Why you ain't over taking your American money over into your African village, wherever they tell you to say you come from, and go help them? Why? It's funny. Ain't it funny how all these people claim they're African, yet you never see them in Africa. You never see them staying in Africa. They never have dual residence in Africa. They never saying, look, we're going to go and help. I'm going to help my people over in Africa. I'm going to give my money, because it's BS. It's BS. You see? It's BS. They lying. They're lying to us. And you got black people that are lying because they get in the bag. Pushing African American to hide our American indigenous culture and history. We have a very rich culture. We have a very rich history, and it's time for us to embrace it. It's time for us to embrace it. The so-called Mongolians, the so-called Native Americans, they don't want to reveal. They don't want to reveal their Mongolian roots. They don't. They don't want to reveal their Mongolian roots, because then that means they ain't American. That means they're not American. The white man, he don't want to talk about his European roots. He's trying to forget about he trying to forget he come from Europe. That's why they sit up here and telling our people to go back to Africa. And we never even, that's funny. We the only indigenous people here. We didn't come from Africa. Everybody else, you could clearly see they all from Europe and Asia, but they got the nerve to tell us to go back to Africa. They got the nerve to act like this their country. You see, they act like this is their country. But the very people that built the economy, us, we African, and we should go home to Africa where we belong. We never came from there. You see, we're supposed to throw away our culture to make other people feel good as they steal our culture and lie on us, and then turn around and say, oh, see, you niggas ain't did nothing. You niggas ain't nothing but African booty scratchers. Y'all ain't been nothing but running around the trees, climbing up in trees and chasing monkeys and studying Islam. You like that idiot Ben Carson said. Like I said, you what the idiot of the year award, Ben Carson. The Dr. Ben Carson. Dr. Coon Carson. No, man. Again, what a real coon thing to say. A lot of these guys are paid to say this. A lot of these guys are paid to denigrate our history, dump on our history, degrade our history. But hey, man, A sellout gonna be a sellout. You can't convert a damn sellout. You can't convince a sellout to stop being a damn sellout. They gonna sell out for the bag. They'll get up here and they'll talk about how they not, because again, they got you too, Kendrick Lamar. They got you too sitting up here talking, I'm not American. Why? Ask yourself a question. What would make them say that? What would make them just come out and say, I'm not American, I'm African? What would make them say that? Remember Diddy had on the African shirt before he locked his black ass up? What would make them do that? Let me say, somebody said, how come DNA cannot separate an African from us if we different? Our hair, our tone, our build is different from Africans, right? Yes, it is. I prove to you that the majority, first and foremost, the majority of so-called Black Americans in America have O blood types. And the people who are American indigenous descent, they have O blood types. I'm an O blood type. Africans tend to have AB blood type or a B blood type. So we don't have the same blood type as Africans. We don't. And you could clearly see we don't look the same as Africans. Again, see, this is the problem. Like, you'll call the so-called Native Americans, you'll call them Native Americans, you'll say that they native to America, but you could clearly see they're really linked to the Mongolians from Asia. You could clearly see they're Asians. This guy was saying, this so-called native dude who got a YouTube channel, that's what I meant to tell you. He said, oh, the indigenous peoples, he said, oh, here goes some famous indigenous people you didn't know about. He put Michael Jackson up there, and he put Jimi Hendrix up there, and he put a couple of some Caucasians up there, talking about they got native blood in them, they got native or indigenous blood in them, meaning that he's trying to push across the lie that to have some of that Mongolian blood in them, they Asian blood in them, that makes you indigenous to America. This is the lie he's trying to put across, which don't even make no sense. We're not African. And what are you saying? What makes you say? What makes you say? How come DNA cannot separate an African from us? Yes, they can. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. I don't know what Africans you looking at. I don't know what Africans you looking at. Karibu, Kadinu, or whatever. I don't know what Africans you looking at. But the Africans don't look like us. And the Africans, some ones that do look like us, they're not really African. A lot of the people that's in Africa who think they're African, they're not really. They mixed with African, but a lot of those people are not African. Africans tend to have a certain look. If you know how tribal real Africans look, the ones who don't really grow hair, the ones who have a certain type of tint to their skin, a dark tint, and they don't grow hair, those are Africans. You can clearly see the difference in how we move, how we talk, how we connect with each other. You can see we're not the same. You know, you only saying that because you heard that from the white man, that all so-called dark-skinned people with woolly hair come from Africa. But then he turned around and said all life started in Africa. So make that make sense. If all life started in Africa like they teach, then how come we all got different genetic material? We look different. You can look and tell because it was a time where they would talk about the American people, the indigenous people, and they would talk about the Africans separately. The Europeans would do that. They knew the difference between Africans and American indigenous people. So stop believing that we all the same just because we got dark skin and woolly hair. We don't. And if you look at us genetically, we don't have, even though we have the same blood type. You see, even the Maya had the sickle cell trait, and we today are the only race that carries that trait. First of all, the Mayans did not have a sickle cell trait. They did not. They did not. Because if the Mayans had a sickle cell trait, or we got sickle cell trait, we'd all be in hospitals with sickle cell anemia. How come we ain't got it? We'd all be in hospitals with sickle cell anemia. Everybody would have been dead from sickle cell. Sickle cell anemia comes from Africa, because the sickle cell was developed because a lot of people over in Africa, they would get bit by bugs and mosquitoes and all that. They would carry malaria, and people would die on the spot with that. I knew a brother who was down with Dr. York, brother in a wheelchair. Because Dr. York was pushing the whole African thing at one time. That's why I couldn't really rock with it. The brother, he went over there on some whole African thing, and he got bit by one of those bugs on mosquitoes. He died, man. He got caught malaria or something. He died. So the sickle cell trait developed as a way to fight off the malaria and things like that. Because sometimes your body will start to adapt to something and will pick up certain cells to fight that. And that's what happened in those regions, like in Africa and whatnot, where a lot of the water was still, and you had mosquitoes and bugs breeding in that water. They were carrying diseases. And that's why when you go over to certain parts of Africa, you got to get a shot. You got to get a shot before you go. And that's another question. If we got sickle cell anemia already, then we wouldn't have to get no shots when we go to Africa. Some of us have the trait because, you know, you have certain people that have, you know, on certain parts, somebody might have mixed in, somebody might have a relative that had some African trait or whatever the case is, but that's very few and far in between. Because if we had sickle cell anemia, we'd all be messed up. The guy Prodigy from I think he had sickle cell anemia. You see? So I'm not saying that in certain cases the African bloodline didn't show up, because some of them did make their way over here, but very small number, very insignificant, not enough to sit up here and say we African. It's not, because you don't see the Europeans saying they're European. You see, you don't see that. You know what I'm saying, blacks that move to Africa get get ran out and disappear altogether. Yup, that's true. That's true. And I want to see this nonsense, this lie that the Mayans had sickle cell anemia. No, they didn't. No, the Mayans did not have sickle cell anemia, because a lot of them would have dropped dead. If you got sickle cell anemia, especially back then, if you had sickle cell anemia and you had that trait, and because what happens is, once you know, if you're not in those areas no more where, you know, you have it to fight it off, then the sickle cell starts to cut away. That's why I call it sickle cell. It starts to cut away at the healthy cells because it has nothing to fight no more, if you're not in those areas no more. So no, I don't have no sickle cell trait. My family don't have no sickle cell traits. You see, a lot of American bronze people don't have sickle cell. We don't have that. We be suffering from that. We're not suffering from that. Why are we suffering from that? Why are we not hospitalized with that? That whole sickle cell thing, again, you got to consider the source of the people that are telling us about these things. The same people are trying to Africanize us. The same people are trying to Africanize us. Now, if you're saying that our people developed a sickle cell while we were in South and Central America, I can accept that, but not because we African. And again, a lot of our people don't even carry sickle cell. They might get a trait of it, but to have a trait don't mean you carry it. Doesn't mean you carry it. You see? Where does the Alzheimer come from? That come from Europeans. That come from Caucasians. We don't get no Alzheimer's. That come from you. That come from the Caucasians. That come from them. You see, we don't got that. So, do they not accept or want bronze people there? They will never be connected to that. Exactly. That's why I said so-called Black Americans, you look stupid going over there to Africa talking about I'm home, I'm in the motherland, all this other nonsense. Who told you that? Who told you that? Why do y'all even believe that y'all African? Did your grandmamas tell you that? Did your grandfather and all them tell you that? No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They told you we Indians, we American Indians. They'll tell you that. They're not telling you they know African. And they didn't say that because, they're just ashamed of being African. No, they said it because it's not true. Stop calling, you're going to call your people a liar, but you'll believe the so-called white man. You'll believe him because he's the one that told you was African. Other than him telling you African, y'all would not have thought y'all was African. If he would have told you was Asian, y'all would be like, yeah, see, we Asian. Or if he would have said, y'all European, see, we European. Basically, you believe whatever they tell you. But see, again, it's okay for people to say things and make statements and assertions, but when you can't back it up with the truth, when you can't back it up with proof, when you sit up here telling lies, when you're saying things that don't make no sense, we can't take you seriously. We can't say what you're saying is real. We can't. There's too many holes in the in U.S. history about concerning so-called Black people. Too many holes. Too many holes in the damn framework and the fabric of our lives. And we shouldn't be trusting these people to give us our history. Our history is being laid out. The history that they don't want to teach us about who we are as American indigenous people. The history where they was going around threatening our people to not refer to themselves as Indian no more, that we had to start calling ourselves Africans if we wanted to be safe. If we didn't want to messing with our stuff, burning down our shit, coming and running up in our house, killing our people. You see, our people had to become black by force. Our people had to become black and African American and Negro and all that bull crap by force. By force. Why they don't talk about that history? Why they don't talk about that history of how they started off calling us Indians, then all of a sudden they don't want us to be Indians no more. Now they want to be Indians. They want to be $5 Indians. Why Jason Black and all of them don't talk about that? They seem content with the whole black thing. A lot of you Negroes seem content with the whole black thing, which is nothing. A lot of y'all are content with the whole black nonsense. Made up race, made up people. Black people, they made up race and a made up people from racist Caucasian. We are not black people. We are not black people. Our skin is not black. We don't have no black history. That's some made up history. And like I said, I don't trust people who double down on that. I don't trust people who want this Martin Luther King, our history is Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, Nat Turner. Man, if you don't get out of here with that BS, the freedmen, man, if you don't get out of here with that BS, we got a rich history, a greater history beyond that. And see, this is what black history does. It blacks out our history and gives us some tidbit nonsense. So like I said, don't trust these people who pushing this black nonsense. You see? Hit the link down below. Somebody asked about the Cash App. That's why we doing the street festival, man. That's why. Can y'all see the Cash App down below? Do y'all see the Cash App? Can y'all see it? Can everybody see that Cash App? Hit that up. We need to do this festival, man. June, man. We need your help, man. We need your help. We need everybody out there who is acknowledging this message of who we are as American indigenous people, right? Can you see it? So please donate to this. Let's make this happen. Spread the word because, you know, our history has been hidden for far too long. And it's sad that the biggest proponents of fighting against our history and fighting against who we are is our own people. Our own people, I told you the Pan-Africanists and the so-called Native Americans both have the same thing in common. They want us to be African. That go for your Israelites. They want us to be African. Because again, if you pull away, because again, how y'all guys men of the Lord and y'all sit up here telling the truth, telling a lie? How you niggas gonna be men of the Lord, you so-called Israel? I'm calling out you Israelites. How you black Israelites gonna be so-called men of the Lord when you sitting up here telling lies? You sitting up here with the African slave ship story. We got brought over here from Africa on slave ships, on cargo slave ships. Okay, so y'all tell this lie that we was in Israel and then we ran from the Romans into Africa, and that's how we got into Africa. That's a load of BS. That's a lie. That's a lie from people who like the Israelite story, like the 12 tribes story, like we was all, you know, this is Gad, this is Reuben, this is Benjamin. No pun intended, I'm Benjamin. But this is who, you know, we are. But nobody thinks that, hey, at one point, Benjamin was, you know, so which they say is the West Indians. Why was they calling our people West Indians? Why was the Europeans calling our people West Indian? Now they're trying to call you Caribbeans now. You see how they're trying to pivot away from the Indian thing? They was referring to us as West Indian. When you see the West Indian, you thought of a bronze person, so-called black person, right? When you thought about West Indian, you thought about so-called bronze person, so-called black. You didn't think about nobody else other than you didn't think about none of these Asian-looking people, nothing. When you hear West Indian, you think so-called black people. You see, and we are Indians in the West. A West Indian is an indigenous person of the West. We are in the West. We in the Western world. You see how they was referring to our people as West Indians because the West Indians, y'all Americans too. Again, we North American Indians, man. We indigenous to this land. How is it that the oldest person found here in the Americas is a so-called black woman? Make that make sense. Make that make sense. If people tell me, somebody say you can't see the Cash App. Somebody post the Cash App, please. I don't know why y'all can't see the Cash App. If you look down below in the section, you should be able to see it. Let me see something. I'm going to YouTube. See, Better World. Let me see. It's right there. Better World. I'm gonna put it in there, man. Y'all gotta stop being lazy, man. It's right there. Better World Org Campaigns American Indigenous Street Music Festival. I'm gonna put it in the chat group. But y'all just gotta go down below. All right. Y'all just gotta go down below and hit the link. I'm gonna put it in the chat group. All right. Let's make this happen, man. Let's have our street festival, man. We got a very rich heritage here. We have a very rich culture here. Here we go. There it is. There it is. I just put it in there. So nobody can make no excuse to, oh, I didn't see it. Oh, I didn't know. Nah, man, come on, man. I'll put it in there. Dog, gotta wait till I get my refund. I'm gonna get one. Okay. So here's the link down in there. Hit the link and donate, man. I don't care what, like I said, if you donate over $60, I'm gonna send you a shirt, the Olmec shirt. Those who donate over $60, we'll send you out the notorious Olmec's t-shirt that we got from our company, American Indigenous Street, Republic of ROA Apparel. From ROA Apparel. I'll send you the shirt, the notorious Olmec's. That t-shirt we got. We're gonna do it in sweatshirts too. And we're gonna have them at the festival too. And you'll get the honorable mention. Let's pull this off, man. Let's make this happen, man. This is history in the making right here, people. Because it's history in the making, because people will keep trying to Africanize us, blacken us up, hide our heritage and all that. And it's not just Europeans, it's not just the Caucasians doing it, it's these pro-blacks doing it too. Let's not let they lies stand up on us, man. You see? I wish you had gold and silver for sale. Well, gold and silver for what? What you gonna do with gold and silver? But trade it off for someone or hold on to it. You can't do nothing with gold and silver. All you're gonna do is try to buy it, trade it off for some, or give it to some, sell it, or use the trade, and then you ain't got it no more. What does gold and silver do for you? Nothing. You just gonna sit on it. You'll try and get you try and sell it, and you're gonna get paper dollars for it. You can't liquidate gold and silver, because once it's gone, it's gone. Once it's gone, it's gone. You see? So go and support the American Indigenous Street Music Festival. Go down below, hit the link. Let's make this happen. All right. Let's make this happen. We need this like yesterday. We need our American Indigenous heritage, our American Indigenous culture like yesterday. Let's cut the narrative, man. Let's be truthful about who we are. Let that slave mind go. Again, a lot of our people still walking around with the African slave mind because that was embedded in you. Y'all don't watch too many damn Roots movies. You don't watch too many 12 Years a Slave. Don't you understand? That was meant to be programming for our people. 12 Years a Slave, Roots, the Django, right? The Django, to make you think our history started on a damn slave plantation. Once we got brought in from Africa. That is so damn false. That is so much of a lie. We were already here before the white man came here as the copper-colored races. They was referring to us as Indians. They didn't call us black people. They did not. And then they started calling us Negro. But if you look at a lot of these, documentaries, they start off, they calling us, they say that they now using the term African American. But when you look on the slave documents and the records, they didn't say African American. Now, why wouldn't they call our people Africans if they took us straight from Africa? Why would they call Africans Indians? Why would they call Africans Indians? And I told you, Indian is another way the white man was saying was the indigenous people. All that, oh, it means copper, blue. No, it don't. They called us Indians because that was a way of saying the indigenous people, the people that really are from this land. They call all the indigenous people Indians in this land. That was a term that came from them. That meant that we are the people of the land. This is our country. This is our country. And it's time that y'all start. Again, we Americans. When people ask me, I'm American. I'm American. We the Americans. You got the Italians over here. You got the Irish over here. You got the Germans over here. You got the French over here. You got all the Europeans. You got the Native Americans who are really Asians over there. They did go get with their Asian brothers and their Asian sisters. You natives need to stop denying your Mongolian history. Stop denying that. Why y'all denying your Mongolian history? Don't you know the scientists them said when they found the oldest woman, the so-called black woman here in America, don't you know they was like, oh, why isn't she Mongolian? She doesn't have Mongolian roots. Now, question. Why don't you so-called Mongolians, you Native Americans, why ain't y'all questioning why the oldest woman found here in America, the oldest person found in the Americas is a black woman? So-called black woman, black American woman. Why ain't y'all questioning? Why ain't y'all debunking that? Now, if it was a Mongolian, Asian-looking woman, oh, see, here's the original. Then they would be on it. See, y'all ain't no Americans. Here's the oldest woman here in the Americas. She's Mongolian. She's Native American, they would say. Here's the old, and now if she looked like an Asian or has straight hair, oh, see, that's a native right here. See, y'all be like, oh. But now when they show you this is a so-called black man, they kept on testing it and testing this. The science kept testing it, and they seen Lucia woman was a so-called black woman. They was like, they kept testing it because they didn't want to accept it, because it goes against their racist lies about our people. Everybody wants our people to be slaves. Everybody wants our people to be African slaves. That's what they want. And so much so they drummed it into your head through their U.S. history lies. They drummed this lie into our heads. But the real truth, the real proof is still accessible. So you better get that proof while it's still accessible, because I'm telling you right now, same way they over there, these Caucasians is over there painting the walls in ancient Egypt, painting all the people over, the bronze people, the so-called black people, so-called black, I use that word so-called black, the bronze people, painting them over to be white and everything else, lying because they want to steal our greatness. They want to steal our heritage. They want to steal what we built because they need us to be down so that they could be up. In their mind, they need us to be down so that we can be, so that they could be up. You see? Exactly. Indigenous. That's really what they meant. I wish you had gold or silver for sale for what? You see? Why do you leave their massive countries to come to the 50 states? Well, it wasn't even on 50 states then. But again, our people are indigenous to America, not just United States of America, but America. Again, our people, with all this information, all this knowledge that's coming out on who we are as the American indigenous people, I don't understand why y'all still with this African nonsense. I don't understand that. I don't understand why y'all still talking about we African and we came over on African slaves, because that's popular. That's still very popular. It's still ingrained in your minds. It's still ingrained in your brain that you came, and this is what the whole point of that was, that you came here as slaves and all this other nonsense, and that's how you got into America, lying about our heritage. So my thing is, how is it, and I kept asking the question, how is it that our culture dominates if we was slaves here? How come the Native American culture don't dominate? Oh, that's right, because there is no Native American culture. This guy tried to say Jimi Hendrix, this Mongolian native guy, he tried to say Michael Jackson and Jimi Hendrix are indigenous, meaning that they have some of their blood, that Mongoloid blood in them, because this is what they try to put across, that we only indigenous if we got their blood inside of us. If we mix, he said Michael Jackson's indigenous through his mother. No, excuse me, through his father. On his father's side. First of all, Michael Jackson and his family, they Mexicans. Their family's Mexicans. You got a lot of black, so-called black Mexicans. That, again, that's the indigenous people from the Olmecs who are not African. The Olmecs are not African. And then you got, and they'll say, oh, Jimi Hendrix. Notice they chose two famous people. Notice this guy is Mongolian. I'm going to play it next time we do a video. Probably tomorrow I'm going to do a video, but I'm not going to be on camera. I want to play this guy's video. Fair use, by the way, when I play it. He basically is claiming Michael Jackson and Jimi Hendrix as indigenous Americans. Now, if Michael Jackson and Jimi Hendrix wasn't famous, He be calling them African Americans. Oh, y'all black, y'all African American. But because they famous, they want to claim Jimi Hendrix and Michael Jackson. You got our blood. No, it's the other way around. You got our blood in you. We the original people. Our blood is in you. Y'all came as foreigners from Asia by the Spanish. They brought you here into the Americas, and you mixed with the indigenous people that was here. That's how y'all got y'all blood. That's how y'all got y'all indigenous blood, by mixing with us, not the other way around. You see how they try to turn things around? You see? Yeah. Michael Jackson, his family, they Mexicans. They're American indigenous people. You can look at them and tell. I'm American indigenous. I'm American. You can look at my hairline and everything else. I'm American indigenous. You see? Ain't no African in us. We O types. The mass majority of black Americans are O positive. We O positive. In the Caribbeans and all that, we O positive. We don't have no A blood type. We don't have B blood types. We don't got that. We got some of our people who do got that, but we as a whole, as American indigenous people, the people who are really indigenous to America, we don't have no African blood types. We don't have no A and B blood types. We don't have that. That's an anomaly. If you see so-called black Americans with that, those are the people that have some African mixed in them. And again, it's no shot at the Africans at all, because we got people that are from Africa that's in our community. But, you know, again, for truth's sake, the real Americans are the O positive, O blood type people, the universal blood type. That's who the indigenous people are. That's my blood type. That's my family blood type. My children, all of us, majority of so-called black people. You see, that's American. That's American. And you got y'all sitting here thinking y'all African. Check out the African blood types. Why we got different blood types if we the same? Why we got different blood types? You can look at our skin and our hair and tell we not African. But they want to keep Africanizing us, because again, if we accept that we African, if we accept that, then guess what? They get to be us. They get to be, it works out good. We get to be the black Africans. The Mongolians, they don't want to acknowledge their Mongolian heritage. They want to act like that ain't had nothing to do with them. Okay, so where all them Asians went, who the Spanish brought over in the Asian slave trade? Get this book. I'm telling you, and I don't even read books, but I just bought this as a collector's item, and I'm keeping it on my bookshelf. Get this book, Asians in Colonial Mexico. Okay, from chinos, and notice the Mexicans, y'all still use that term chino, because this guy was saying also, this guy that was up there talking about Michael Jackson, he's indigenous, and so is Jimi Hendrix, two famous people. They want to claim famous ones of our people. They get to be indigenous, the famous people. But if they wasn't, oh you niggas, y'all African American, why are you trying to steal our culture? It's not your culture. Even the term Native American ain't even from y'all. That's from the white man. Why y'all going by the white man? I thought y'all was free. Y'all big on, you so-called natives, always big on saying that y'all was never enslaved, that you was never in bond. That's a lie. That's a lie. You were enslaved as Asians by the Euro-Spanish. Go look that up. When you point them to that, they never want to, they don't want to talk about that. When you point to the fact that there was an Asian slave trade that they don't teach you in history in school, they only talk about us being slaves. Why is that? Why are they not teaching about the Asian slave trade? Because you know what happens if they do that? It showed, or they're talking about how these people crossed the Bering Straits and came into America running from Genghis Khan. Why they don't talk about that? Where all them people went? Where all them Asians went? Where all them went? Oh, they ain't got nothing to do with y'all? Right. But it's funny how the scientists them said, oh, we was expecting Lucia woman to be a Mongolian, have Mongolian features. Why would they say that if y'all not Mongolian? If y'all not Asian, why would they say they classify y'all as Asians? Scientists classify y'all as Asians. And they just started trying to classify us as Africans, because at one time they didn't call us Africans. They knew he wasn't African. That's more of a later thing they started doing. That's more toward the latter when they start, and we could prove on paper that they took us from Indian straight to African Americans, like Indian, Negro, colored, mulatto, black, than African American. All these black, for all these people who have these different shades of copper colored skin. Make that make sense to me. Because we're the only ones that come in different shades like that. Noticeable different shades. We got what you call light skin, brown skin, dark skin. We got all these different shades. And we got the same kind of hair. Whereas you Caucasians, Asians, and all you other people, y'all got the same kind of hair. Y'all all the same. Y'all all out of Europe. You all out of Asia, Eurasia. It's all the same thing. Y'all all the same people. That's why the Caucasians didn't mind if y'all stayed around and called yourself Native American. And this is why they tend to connect to y'all tribes on the reservations. You see, because they could blend in with y'all. They could mingle their blood with y'all. And at one point in time, they would let the government let them be $5 Indians, where they could get all the land they want. All they had to do is give $5 and put their name on the doors roll. Nobody talks about that. You see? Nobody talks about that. Right? Exactly. You can't even check African as a race on the census. You can't. And you can't even trace the so-called Native Americans back to the American Indians. Why is that? On paper, you cannot trace Native Americans to American Indians. Why is that? Why is that? Why did that term American Indian go dead? Why is people who the so-called Hindus, why are they using the term Indian American? Why are they using that term? Why are the so-called Mongolians under the term so-called Native Americans under the term that the white man gave to them? Why? Because they all the same people, man. They all complicit in the lie. And you got some sellout Sambo Negroes out here who Pan-Africanists, who actually undercover boule, who pushing this lie to our people. That's why they're going to keep the African slave thing alive. You see, they bringing in Africans now. They bringing in Africans now to play bronze Americans, indigenous American roles and whatnot in Hollywood. You see that right now. You see, we can't let nobody bury our culture, man. So I'm going to be up here stomping hard, raising money. The goal is to raise 15K. Let's get this so we can have our street festival. And again, I don't got nothing. Again, I really don't have nothing against the Native Americans. I don't. I have zero against the Native Americans. They are Native Americans. They are. They came from someplace else, from Asia, brought over here through slavery, right? A lot of your Caucasians came over here through slavery too, the Irish, and all of them came over here through slavery. They didn't come over here as no indentured servants. They came over as slaves. They came over and they would probably work 7 years or 8 years or work off of debt to come over because they was trying to get out of Ireland and all these places. So of course they wanted to come over here and get land and stuff like that because they've been given, the Europeans, they've been given all the land taken from our people. They wasn't taking no land from the Mongolians, from the so-called Native Americans. Nobody took no land from them. What land? What land? You mean the land they were squatting on in their tent cities? That's what you're talking about? Or the reservations they live in that look like shit. A lot of their reservations look like it's just straight degeneracy on their reservation, yet they weren't enslaved. But when you talking about black neighborhoods, so-called black neighborhoods, and how they messed up and whatnot, you can understand why that was. You can understand why that was because our cities and our towns, our areas where we were in the South and places like that were destroyed by racist Caucasians on behalf of the U.S. government. They were destroyed by racist Caucasians, destroying the indigenous American people's areas and whatnot, because we have a lot of prosperous areas. Over 100 towns were destroyed in America and in around America, all around where our people tried to set up and get away from, the Caucasians who were coming here, the colonizers. Our people tried, and they wouldn't let us get away, man. They wouldn't let us have nothing, man. So again, why would you do that to people who you brought over here? According to what you said, you brought these people over here, you put them in slavery, but yet you hate these people for what? For what? Why do you hate people that you brought over here? And according to your story, you brought us from Africa like sardines and beat the hell out of us, sexually assaulted our women, raped and did all this stuff. You did all this stuff to our people, brutalized our people, and then you still got hatred for us? Make that make sense. Please even explain the hate that they have for us. You see? Please explain the hate you have for us. The hate that Caucasians and all these other people have for our people is not the same hate that you would have for a people that you supposedly brought someplace. You see? The hate they have for us is a hate that people from the outside have for people who are indigenous to the land. That's what the hate, it fits that. In other words, when you're coming to try and take somebody's place, of course you're going to hate the people that are in place where you want to be. They want to be Americans. So in order for them to be Americans, they got to erase you. They got to make you Black Americans. They got to make you African American, anything but American by nationality. They want to be American by nationality and tell you African American. They want to make up a lie. You see, and y'all go for it. You go for it. In schools, in history that they make up and lie about, and y'all okay with living the lie. That's the sad thing about it. Y'all okay with living the lie. And when somebody come to try to tell you the truth, the real truth, because again, it's bigger than us being American indigenous people. It's bigger than that. But y'all ain't ready for the bigger because y'all can't even accept the small thing. Us being American is a small thing, man. Us being Americans by nationality as a real American, that's small to accept because that's the real truth right there in front of your face. How are you not going to accept the real truth that's right in front of your face? Answer, because you don't want to. Y'all comfortable with the lie. That's why y'all still walking around here like African slaves. Y'all still sitting up here programmed and brain stained. I don't say brainwashed. Brain stained and believing that they brought you like packed in a damn boat like sardines. They can't you tell they just making this stuff up, man? Can't you tell they just lying? I'm like, are all people this breathtakingly stupid? Y'all don't think about this. Did people just tell you things? They brought you here. Millions of you here to pick cotton. They actually got the nerve to say that. They brought millions of you here to pick cotton because according to them, that's all you did. That's all we did was pick cotton and cut tobacco. Yet you have all these people here, all these white people that came over here to that you was using to do that. Why would you need so-called Africans to do that? Why would you need Africans who can't speak your language? Why would you need them to come over here and pick cotton and cut down tobacco when you got people that could have just did that here? Why? That's a lie. That's why. We did way more than do that. We did way more than that. I told you cotton pickers and sugarcane cutters and whatever the hell, that's not valuable. Again, the hatred that they have for our people here in this country, the hatred that they have for Black Americans in this country is because we indigenous. It has nothing to do with Africans. If we was really African, then their hatred for us wouldn't make no sense. The hatred for us wouldn't make no sense. Even now, they don't hate Africans. The white man don't hate Africans. The European, the Euro-Americans, the white Americans, they don't hate Africans. They hate Black people. They hate Black Americans. They don't hate Africans. They hate Black Americans. Okay? You see how it's the difference? They don't hate Africans. You will never hear Africans talking about, oh, the white man did this to me. The white man did that. They don't say that when they come over here. They don't bother them. Because a lot of them Africans, they classify as white. Because I told you white is immigrant. Black is indigenous. That's how they play. So they don't have to say it. But that's what it is. White is immigrant. Black is indigenous. And because this government was set up by foreigners, by immigrants, they're only going to look out for immigrants. White ones first and everybody else below them. But you so-called indigenous people, Black Americans, they ain't looking out for you. They ain't looking out for you. The so-called Native Americans, they don't got no problem in America. They get money from the U.S. government. They get money from the U.S. government. They don't got no problem. Why? If they claim the white man did them so bad here in America, why the white man give them money for their reservation? They get money. Right? They get money. We don't get no money. We got the worst of it. Yet we supposedly can, because again, make it make sense to me that you would bring a bunch of people here who did nothing to you. They did nothing to you that was in their land according to you, and you just brought them here to do this and you beat the hell out of them. did this to them, did them dirty, had all the degenerate stuff they did to our people, and they African? You did this to Africans who did nothing to you? Shouldn't we hate y'all for everything you did? Shouldn't we hate y'all for taking us out of our homeland according to you? Shouldn't we hate you? And every time it should be on site with y'all because of what y'all did? Shouldn't we? But we don't. And you can't explain why y'all really hate black people. I just told you why. The old people that passed on, the old racists that passed on, the segregated South, those places, they know why. They know why they hate black Americans. They know why they hate the black American, but they don't hate the African. Remember I told you that story about Muhammad Ali? Muhammad Ali, he still didn't understand why is it that when he went to go eat someplace with this African dude, they was going in a restaurant in the South, and they said the African guy was, he looked like an African. He had on his African attire. He had that dark look to his face, the African look to their face. And they let the African in to eat. They didn't let Muhammad Ali in to eat. Why is that? They said he's not a Negro. They said the African, Muhammad Ali said that. They said the African, that's African. He's not a Negro. We don't serve Negroes. We don't serve Negroes. You see? Why they say that? Why they told Muhammad Ali we don't serve Negroes, but we're going to serve the African? Because they know Negro is really a name for the indigenous people, the real Indians. That's why. Look it up. Look at Muhammad Ali when he talked about how he went in the restaurant, and this was in the early 60s. Muhammad Ali is from his own mouth. He didn't understand why that was, but the point he was making, whether he meant to make it or not, is that black Americans and Africans are not the same. That's the point he making, and the white man knows that. That's why they didn't serve Muhammad Ali, because he's an American Indian. His family is indigenous to America, just like my family, just like y'all families out there, but they let the African guy come in and eat. See, so the beef is with us as the indigenous people. They ain't got nothing to do with the color of our skin. Ain't got nothing to do with our hair. Ain't got nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the fact that we indigenous to the land, and they want to erase us and take our place. They hate the fact that they still sitting up here looking at the American indigenous. They know our people are indigenous to America, because there's no way our culture could dominate America if we were not. There would be no way that we could dominate our culture, our music, our style, everything dominates America. The way we talk dominates America. How do foreign people dominate America? How does a foreign culture come in from Africa and dominate American culture? How? And we, according to y'all, we the last people that came here. According to the white man, the white man and his history, I'm not gonna say all of them. I'm not gonna say all of them. I'm talking about the ones who tell lies, the racist ones. How is it that our culture, our music and everything dominates American culture, but we not American? How? How are we? Because according to them, it was the Mongoloids here first, then the white man came, and then he went to Africa and got us and brought us to work. But our culture dominates. How? How? I'm a heavyweight boxing champion of the world, but I can't even get served in an American restaurant. Exactly. Go look up that story. Go look up the story. That proves that we American Indians, they hate us because we the real Indians. They hate us. Even the Mongolians, they know the truth, man. One of them, a few of them came out and told the truth. A few of them came out. I'm not going to damn a whole group of people, because some of them will tell the truth. You see, they know they Asians. They know that, but they got to make us think we African. The people that's fighting against this truth coming out, is the people that have a lot to gain from us being African. They got a lot to gain from us being African. Again, I told you, the Native Americans get to keep they so-called native culture that they stole from us. You see, they took from us. I ain't gonna say use the word stole. I'm not gonna use that, but they copied us. Look, now think about it. Everybody that comes to America, from the Africans to the Mongolians, the Asians, the ones who want to assimilate into the culture, what do? They start cutting their hair like how we cut our hair. All this is our stuff, man. The fades and all this other stuff. They start cutting their hair like how we cut our hair. They start trying to talk like us. They listen to our music. Why is our music the most popular music in the world? Our music is not African music. Our music is not African music. Because if it was, you would have an African Michael Jackson. You would have an African, you would have African Rakim, African, you would have all these Africans who sound like us. And again, I'm not disparaging the Africans at all. I'm not trying to take, but I'm just showing you that we're different. We're different because we are American by nationality. We the real Americans by nationality. And that includes everything from our Mesoamerican roots to our American Indian roots to our American cowboy roots. That's all us, man. That's all us. So if I gotta be, again, I don't mind pushing the narrative, the real truth, so that our people can at least get on board as to who we are as American. We can drop the whole black thing. The intelligent ones of our people can drop the whole black thing, can definitely drop the African thing. And again, for you people that want to go to Africa and you want to be African, be down, man. Go be African. I'm not against the Africans at all. I'm not against the Native Americans at all. But what you're not going to do is tell us we can't be who we are, who we know we are by truth. You ain't going to tell us, you ain't going to get up in our face and tell us, oh, y'all Africans trying to steal our culture. Y'all better do some damn history and research before you run your mouth. Because again, y'all don't get to gatekeep American indigenous culture. Who the are y'all? Who are y'all? Y'all don't get to gatekeep American indigenous culture when y'all not even indigenous to America. How y'all going to gatekeep it? When that's our culture. Because if we let them get away with this, like I said, they'll try to gatekeep hip hop and tell us we not, because they're already doing that with break dancing and graffiti. They lying and saying, because this guy, again, back to this so-called Native American dude, he got a YouTube channel. I don't know what his name is. I'm not trying to shout him out. But he sits up here and says that, oh, we need your help. Because he said that because Donald Trump with the ICE thing, and he's deporting a lot of the illegals, he said, oh, you know, a lot of us, they coming onto the reservations and they grabbing a lot of the indigenous people and trying to deport them and trying to get them out of the country. And because they mistaken us for Latinos, and that's our people, they indigenous too. No, y'all not. Y'all are indigenous to Asia. Y'all are Asians. And that's the truth. I'm not saying to be mean. Y'all are Asians. And is it a mistake? Is the mistake that they coming and getting y'all? Is it a mistake? Is it really a mistake? Because if y'all saying y'all related to the Latinos, the Mexicans, y'all saying y'all relate, because they're not Mexicans neither. The Mexicans are black people, so-called black people. The Mexicans is will.i.am. The Mexicans is the Jackson family. That's Mexicans. The Mexicans, the black, so-called black Mexicans are the ones they hide in Mexico. They don't let you see what they call Afro-Mexicanos or the so-called Afro-Mexicans, which they tell this lie they came here through slavery too. That's another lie. Every place we in America owes because of slavery. But then when you really dig into it and find out that's all a lie. You see? So again, all the truth is coming out. You see, they want to pick and choose because they don't got no famous people. The so-called Native Americans don't got no famous people that the world know about. So of course they're going to pick and choose and try to pick at our thing. Listen, that just go to show you that they're not even satisfied with their so-called Native American culture. Because if they was, why you trying to sit up here and hand pick our stuff? They even try to sit up here and say that, oh, jazz music is linked to Native Americans. Jazz music, our music. You see, they got to start to pick at our stuff because they don't really have nothing that they own that's popping. They don't have nothing that's popular. They don't have nothing that people are looking to. Nobody's looking to their culture for nothing. Nothing. They won't even let us have our culture. They want our music. All the music that's popular in the world is from our people, and it's not African. So again, this is why this is so important. Boy, we really need this. So please go and donate. Please let people spread the word. I'm only one person. We're gonna have I think we're gonna have the Instagram up and whatnot. We're gonna push this, man, because we indigenous people, man. And again, our culture doesn't just mean American Indian culture. It means Mesoamerican culture, cowboy culture, American cowboy culture. That's all our stuff. So again, go down below, hit the link. Go down below and hit the link. Let's make this happen. Please support. I'm supporting. I'm gonna give money to. We need, like I said, we need porta toilets, which we're gonna get. We need dumpsters and everything. We're gonna do it right in ATL. It's happening in ATL. We're working on it. Like I said, we're getting everything together. Everything's coming together. Beautiful. We want to have this. We want to make this happen. We need this historically for our people. This is going to be a big thing, man. This is going to be a big thing for our people. So let's make this happen. Let's push. Let's make this happen, man. Give all you can stand, man. The thousand people that watch me. I don't care if a lot of people watch me. I told you, I'm not in this for money, man. I'm not in it for the money. Obviously, I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for the truth's sake and the raising of my people, the American people all over the Americas, the bronze-skinned people, and even our people over in Africa and all over, because our American indigenous heritage is all over the planet, man. Our American indigenous heritage is all over the planet, straight up. So let's make it happen, man. Hit it up, please. Let's get this 15 grand up. We need this 15K. Let's do it. Like I said, let's make it happen. Let's have this big ass party to celebrate who we are as Americans, who we are as Americans by nationality, who we are as Americans by nationality. Let's hit this link. Let's make it happen. I'm going to be out there talking. I'm going to be running my mouth. You see? And again, I don't have no problem with nobody. I don't have no problem with the natives. Again, I know they natives. I know they natives for where they come from. They natives. They came from you. Y'all need to stop hiding your Mongolian heritage, man. Stop hiding your Asian heritage, man. We can clearly see it in your eyes and in your features. No disrespect. We can see it in your features, man. Y'all, because y'all don't got no problem with saying we African, and you could clearly see we don't look like the Africans. You can clearly see that. I'm talking the real Africans. But y'all clearly look like the Mongolians, and like I said, there was a Mongolian slave trade. There was a Mongolian slave trade. There was y'all crossing the Bering Straits. Come on, your history is documented. Stop running from your history, man. So what? Y'all not gonna be indigenous to America no more. Nobody, y'all never was indigenous to America, so you can't lose nothing you ain't never had in the first place. Let us take our place as the real Americans by nationality, the real Americans. The copper-colored races who were here, 1828 Merriam-Webster Dictionary, the copper-colored races that were here when the Europeans came. We watched everybody come to America. The Europeans, the Asians, all these people came here trying to cosplay us, trying to steal our history, steal from us. So, I mean, at the end of that, man. The end of that. So, give me a second. I want to show you something. A second. Hold on. All right. I'm back. I had to use my, Anyway, so let's just say this, man. Listen, man, the treatment we've been getting here in America has been treatment that they give to indigenous people. The treatment we get here in America is treatment that they give to the indigenous people. Wherever the foreigners, wherever the colonizers go, whether it be in South Africa, whether it be in Egypt, whether it be anywhere, they're always going to hate the people who are indigenous to the land because they want to take your place. This is not just going on in America. This goes on wherever we are as indigenous people, whether it be in parts of Africa, whether it be in America, whether it be wherever. Wherever colonizers come, they're going to treat us, the indigenous people, like crap. And that's what we've been going through. So since we was being treated like crap here in America, since the Europeans came here, God damn it, we might as well go ahead and, because we've been being treated like crap because we American indigenous people. If we were really Africans, we wouldn't have went through all this. If we were really Africans, they wouldn't have put us through this. We got put through this because we American indigenous people. And for the longest time, we held on to that until they eventually forced us out of it, forced us through jail, through threatening us to put in jail, killed our people, took our land, everything. And now we're just up here as black people with some manufactured fake history, past, and all this other stuff. Now we just here as nothing now. So let's just wake up to who we are, man, for the sake of our babies. Let's do this. I know it just seemed like I said, to a lot of y'all, it seems like, oh, it's just a festival. No, it's more than that. It's more than that. It's more than just a festival. It's more than just us getting together, having a good time and partying. Yeah, we're gonna have some partying, but we're gonna also learn our history, the real history. And like I said, you can't be no more historically correct and more factual than to have an American Indigenous street festival and music festival for the people who are the culture of America. We are the culture of America. There's no other culture here. You tell me what? Tell me what other culture's here other than us. We American by nationality. So when we show up, you know what happens? The Americans have shown up. And the people who want to be Americans, they hate us for us still being here. You see, and they're going to hate us anyway. So, man, F they hate, man. F they hate. You see? Exactly. You see? So, that's it. I'm about to wrap this up. I would love to meet those who think like me. Donate. Let us come together. Yeah, donate, man. Please donate. Let's make this happen, man. We can't do it by ourselves. We need help, man. We need the financial help and whatnot. So yeah, I'm not out here back. Just man, let's make this happen, man. Let's make this happen. Donate. Let's make this happen. Get those of you who got let's be like an octopus, man. Y'all be the tentacles for me. Let's reach out to these rappers and whatnot, and the guy like Waka Flocka, and I'm like, let these brothers get involved, because they say they're straight tell you we American Indians, my family American Indians, they're straight tell you, man. So my thing is this: these people should want to see an American Indigenous Street Music Festival. They should want to see that. They should want to see an American Indigenous Street Music Festival. You all should want to see that as American Indigenous people. Stop letting people call us African Americans. Stop letting people Africanize us. Stop letting people blacken us up. Stop letting people try to remix African American and sneak it back onto us and tell us we foundational, or we whatever the hell niggas making up. Or we Israelites, or we Christians, or we Moors. Or nah, man, we American Indigenous first and foremost and only. Because all that stuff y'all talking about, all that Moorish stuff, all that Moorish stuff, all that African stuff, y'all still here in America, man. You still here in America. We need to get ourselves together as Americans, not as Muslims, not as Christians, not as Israelites, not as Pan-Africanists. That's not who we are. That's why, if you notice, whenever we tried to go down that road with that stuff, it never worked for our people, man. It never worked for our people to follow foreign things and whatnot, because we're not foreign to this land. We're spitting in the faces of our indigenous ancestors by calling ourselves African, by calling ourselves anything other than what we are, Moors, calling ourselves anything other than we are, which is American, man. We spitting in their face, telling them we got African roots in the motherland, and y'all just believe in that lie, man. Y'all believe in the lie. So that's why we still thinking like African slaves. We the first and only real Americans, man. The first is only, man. First means real and only. Ain't no second, ain't no third. It's first and only. We American by nationality. And that's all, man. That's all. So I'm going to close this out in the name of Amen, by the power of Amen. And Amen we trust, and Amen we thank, and in Amen we continue forward forever, the true Lord. So hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, share this video. The realest broadcast, the realest podcast, because we're going to be talking about something else, in a couple of days. And I've been wanting to debunk this Malcolm X thing, about him, but I've been seeing my little stuff, but I'm gonna hold that off. But we got some more, so I'm gonna do something tomorrow or the next day. I'm gonna, might not be on camera because I'm busy, man. I was getting prepped up for this. But listen, man, just support this, man. We gotta have this in June, man. Let's make this happen. Let's go into power surge. Let the entertainment community know, let the rap community know, let them people know, man, they need to support the festival. They could come out, man. We have a good time. Why can't we have something for a day or two that is about supporting us and enriching us, man? And y'all could go back to being black later, man. But right now, let's just be who we really are, American, and maybe y'all will let the black fade away, because that's what the black was really meant to do, to fade away our heritage and culture, man. So that's it. I'm gonna close out with I want to close out with something. Here's some American indigenous music for you. Good night. Support the American Indigenous Street Music Festival. We're going to be playing music like this. We're going to be jamming out there. We're going to be playing music 70s, 80s, all our American indigenous music. Might play some blues. We're going to play all our music out there. We're going to have the black cowboys represent the American indigenous cowboys, bronze cowboys, indigenous, all our American indigenous culture. That's why I don't really propagate, because we indigenous. Our culture, we have a lot of culture, so we just now. Thank you.